Today is the last day of All Request Week, and let me tell you, it's been a lot of fun, and I've really loved hearing from all of you about what you want. Today's recipe is a French macaron, which is a delicious, delightful little sandwich cookie that seems kind of complicated, but is actually quite easy to make. It's also gluten-free, so we're getting 2 gluten-free recipes this week. You gluten-freers are gonna be happy. Start off by measuring 1 1/4 cups of almond flour. Bob's Red Mill is a really common brand that you can find in a lot of grocery stores and health food stores and baking stores. Then 1 3/4 cups of confectioner's sugar. This recipe actually uses 2 kinds of sugar, confectioner's sugar here, and then granulated sugar in the egg whites, which is the base of this cookie. I also want to add a 1/4 teaspoon of fine salt. Whisk all those dry ingredients together. It's a very simple recipe with a couple of steps that are very important along the way. And then what you need to do is pass it through a fine sieve. This may seem a little bit fussy, but it's what you need to do to make sure that the texture is the right texture. Give yourself a little time to do this. This is really the only part that's gonna take that much time. It's a very fine sieve and some of that stuff is a little bit coarse. It's the little things in life that make for perfection. I was so surprised that so many people asked for a French macaron. I guess it's one of those things that seem kind of elusive and sort of mysterious, so I'm really happy to dispel the mystery. I just went ahead and went in there with my hand, start pressing through the last bits, because you want as much of the almond flour to go through the sieve as possible, and some of it is kind of coarse. All right, now we can move on. Over here I have 4 large egg whites. I need to whisk them until they're foamy. Once it's foamy, then you can add 1/2 cup of sugar with the machine going and whisk it until it's stiff and glossy. Add a 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract, and then just beat everything until stiff, glossy peaks form. It should take about 5 minutes. Once it's stiff and glossy, then you're just gonna fold the egg white mixture into your almond mixture. And then once it's all combined, stir it really vigorously. What you're trying to do is release the air bubbles. You want all the air bubbles out. It shouldn't take more than about 30 seconds. It does take a little bit of elbow grease, so don't give up. And you want the mixture to fall back on itself and be very smooth, kind of like a very thick honey that smooths itself out almost immediately when you stir it. So if you stop stirring, it should fall into a smooth mass basically immediately. And then you know you're done. Once it's all mixed, then what you want to do is transfer it to a pastry bag. I have a pastry bag inside this quart container. It makes it really easy to fill. So just pour the batter into your bag and then fold the ends of the bag up, out, and then you'll see that you have very clean top, which means that the stuff won't go spurting everywhere. And then cut off the tip about 1/2 inch. Don't make too big of a hole, otherwise your batter will come flying out. Twist it, and then you're ready to pipe. And you can pipe onto parchment-lined baking sheets. I like to put a tiny dab of batter underneath each corner to keep it in place while I'm baking, and then I just pipe the cookies. You can fit about 5 across. Lift your bag up between each so that you don't get your parchment messy, and then to the next one. This will make about 2 trays worth of cookies, so that's quite a few sandwich cookies, but they are a special cookie, so you want to make sure there's enough to share. And then what you want to do is you have to let these sit for 30 minutes to 1.5 hours at room temperature uncovered. What that's going to do is allow the top to get a little bit dry. They're going to be dry enough that you can touch the top, and that's what gives the cookies their classic shape, where they puff up, the top is flat, and then there's a little bit of separation between the bottom and the top. That's from the drying. 350 degrees for about 16 minutes. When the cookies are done, make sure you let them cool completely on the parchment paper on a wire rack. Then you can run an offset spatula underneath them to loosen them, and they'll be like a pale tan color, nice and crisp on top, and a little bit chewy in the center. You'll notice that the tops are perfectly smooth and flat, and the sides have puffed up a little bit, and that's what letting them sit until they're dry on top allows for. And then fill with whatever you like. Today I'm using a strained raspberry jam. A little tiny bit goes a long way here. I would say a little more than 1/2 teaspoon per cookie, sandwiched with another one, and then you have the most elegant bakery-worthy cookie that you made at home, gluten-free, and that is the end to our All Request Week. Keep sending in requests, and maybe your request will get made on one of our videos.